Hello and welcome to the Marvelous Mechanical Miniatures Rundown. I'm Josh Bott and this is Mecha Mitchell, and today we've got a bevy of wonderful robots and semi-robots and people who would just really like to be robots. It's admech and Necrons.
So this is the Necron tier, who, this box is significantly thinner than I thought. The Necron tier who wanted to be robots and succeeded, and the Adeptus Mechanicus who want to be robots and are still working on it.
Well, they want to be robots, but not quite.
Yeah.
They gotta have the brain.
They want to be androids.
Basically. Also, I'm not sure the Necron tier wanted to be robots. I think they just wanted fancy robot bodies.
I mean, give what you wish for.
You know, yeah. And, you know, cut to a shot of the Catan.
Yeah.
So, this is the fabled admech and Necrons release.
Yeah.
At time of recording, these were released yesterday, but GW didn't send them to us in a timely manner. So, we're coming to you a few days after they've already been out.
Unfortunately, but it happens.
Also, both the codexes were completely leaked, 2 weeks ago.
It's not leak. It's the NDA breaks, which means that people can talk about
They
it.
were leaked before that.
Just no.
So, let's start out with talking about the codexes.
Yeah.
So, probably the star of this release, honestly, because we didn't get a lot of new models,
Right.
is the codexes themselves. We went from one that is probably the single worst army in the entire game to one that was doing pretty well.
Yeah, they had to be nerfed a couple times, but they were doing all right after that.
Yeah, and we're not gonna do a full review today.
Yeah.
But as someone who plays Necrons, from what you've seen of the book, where are you at?
I will basically enjoy every codex as long as it adds variety. If it makes me want to play the other detachments, I'll love it.
Yep.
Because I personally am someone who likes to change stuff up. I like to play. I'm currently playing Tyranids, play Monster Mash one week, play Synaptic the next week. I love it. So the fact that this gives you a bunch of different options, for better or for worse, because they didn't really do the different dynasties like they did with the different chapters and on all that stuff. They just kind of went, these guys are fast.
They very deliberately went for different playstyles.
Yes, which I'm okay with.
Which I also like.
I have no problem.
If you can assign them arbitrarily to dynasties,
I was gonna fall over.
perfectly fine. But otherwise, no.
Yeah, whereas it's like the different chapters in Space Marines were different playstyles by design, so they kind of had a chapter to fall into. This one is like, you got your destroyer cults, which is awesome. A little underpowered, but still cool. You got your Canoptech stuff, awesome. You got your zippy zoopy fast stuff. You got your
Teleportation shenanigans.
Teleportation shenanigans. I really, really like this book.
And as someone who plays against Necrons, they did nerf the giant indestructible reviving block of doom.
Yep. They took the thing that was impossible to kill and made it slightly easier to kill.
Yes. That being said, they also buffed the absolute bejesus out of Immortals and made them do primo damage. So be ready for that. On the other side of the robot divide, we've got admech. Admech were the very, very first Warhammer models I ever bought and painted because they came out with the 2017 or 16, the first Kill Team box, the one with the admech versus Gene Stealers. They were hard to build and paint then. They're hard to build and paint now. And they were kind of undoubtedly one of the worst indexes for 10th edition 40K.
Oh, by a long shot.
By a long shot. Their factionability was just bad. Everything was overcosted. Nothing really worked together. And that hasn't changed a ton.
Yeah, I've heard they still have some of that.
Unfortunately, this is probably the weakest book we've gotten so far.
It's true.
They did add variety. You've got transport-based, you've got speedy-based, you've got Castellan robot-based, which is probably the strongest one competitively.
Okay.
They didn't really change the main detachment too much, so it still kind of sucks. And there's still just a lot of non-synergies and weird things being weirdly overcosted.
Yeah.
Belisarius Cawl is probably the worst faction leader in the game right now.
Wow.
He just doesn't do much. It's like, oh, he gives an aura of reroll ones.
Cool.
Yeah, they're still just really feel underbaked. And it's kind of sad, because I think they look so cool. They're also probably the single most expensive army to collect.
Yeah.
So, probably not a huge win for admech, but still leaps and bounds better than their index version.
Yeah.
It probably brings them above the weaker performing indexes,
Sure.
but below all of the other books, which is not saying that's because we've got 4.
Yeah.
But I'm going to call it right now, it's going to be worse than Dark Angels 2.
Yeah, fair.
So a little disappointing for an army that looks so amazingly cool, but
Yeah. I've never been a fan of their look. But I do appreciate them in what they do.
Mm-hmm.
I just want that. I want to take them and make Dark Mechanicus out of them. I'm Chaos Boy. It's what I do.
Now when we get Dark Mechanicus, I'm all over that.
Yeah. But I'm glad that they added some variety, and hopefully they'll get a buff if they still aren't performing too well.
Yeah, it's funny that on the back of the cover, they're facing off against Tau, who are basically them, but better. And Tau aren't very good right now.
No, they're not.
So that's saying a lot. So to come along with the new books, we got 2 new combat patrols. Well, new.
Yeah.
Because we didn't get new combat patrols with the Tyranids and Space Marines.
Right.
Because it was like, buy Leviathan, gosh darn it.
Yeah. It replaced the old combat patrols, and these do too.
Yes.
But it's a slightly different feel to it.
Right, because Combat Patrol Necrons, these rules have been freely available for quite a while. Because they were like, oh god, 10th edition nerfed the absolute heck out of flyers. We better not have a flyer in our Combat Patrol.
Well, I think it's the fact that they would have to... It's the only flyer in any combat... It was the only flyer in any combat patrol, and they didn't want something that moves 20 inches to be on a, 22 by 30.
It just wasn't suited for format.
It was not suited for that format.
So
they had to change it up.
This Combat Patrol rules has been out for a long time.
Yes.
And it is terrifying, mostly because of the Doomstalker.
Yep.
Because that thing just will one shot. We've talked before about how most of the combat patrols have one heavy vehicle, and the ability of your combat patrol to handle that determines how good you are. This one wins.
Yep. This one has a big scary gun, and it's also on the big scary vehicle.
Yeah, that thing kills vehicles. On the flip side, though, we also have the admech combat patrol, which is new. Not new models, but they're all newer models.
Yes, which is good.
And this one lacks the big vehicle.
Yeah.
So it breaks with tradition.
It does.
The rules look kind of bad.
I honestly did not look at the rules.
Yeah, they look kind of bad.
Yeah.
They don't look like they don't do much. It does have, the best tech priest, who's the one doing the Mr. Burns. The tech priest Manipulus is what he's called. 3 Cerberus Sulfur Hounds, who can also be built as raiders. A unit of Vanguard, who can also be built as rangers. And a unit of the
Patraxi?
Taraxi Sterilizers, who can also be built as whatever the other Taraxi is.
I didn't even know there was.
Yeah, there's 2 Taraxis. It's based on what weapon they carry.
Yeah.
So these both retail for what, 160?
160.
Points-wise, the Admech one, I think, is not quite as bad as Guard, but pretty close.
Pretty close.
And that's just Admech for you, kind of like Guard. They're
Yeah.
just one of the most expensive factions to collect. This is a good buffet of the units available to Admech, so not a bad pickup if you want to get started in Admech.
I agree.
But honestly, the stuff that's really carrying Admech right now is their bigger stuff.
Yeah.
So this doesn't have that. But that can change with some points increases, or decreases, rather. On the other hand, the Necron one
is pretty good.
Yeah.
Warriors are fantastic. Scorpex have gotten a little bit of a buff, and they're a little bit scarier now.
Lots of attacks.
Yep, lots of attacks. It has Scarabs and an Overlord. You always want an Overlord because it has the free stratagem thing.
And Scarabs are just generally good.
Yeah, Scarabs are cheap, reasonably durable, which is hilarious
for their
a swarm
cost.
model.
Yeah.
And then the Doomstalker, while not the best anti-tank in the faction, is still decent, and with some of the updates from the detachments, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Because one of its downsides is hitting, because its gun's really strong, it just needs to hit. And one of the detachments is reroll your hit rolls. Sign me up.
It's a good one.
Yep.
So once again, point Necrons.
Yep.
Ding!
Mitchell's winning.
Unfortunately. And then, as usual, we have the requisite dice and data cards. They're fine.
Yeah, they're okay. All right.
They're fine. Diceflation has kind of receded a little bit. You get 16 again for $32.
Yep.
Still way too much money for dice, but they do have them.
They saved on the packaging.
Yes. And these are very eminently readable.
Yes, they are. Even the Necron ones are more readable than what they showed online.
Yes.
Which I am glad about, because I thought these were going to be god-awful. They're not terrible.
Yep, not terrible. Data cards are data cards. I don't bother with them because they change too much and they're too expensive for what they are.
Yeah, there's pieces of paper. They're fine.
If you pay...
35.
Yeah, $35. So how much is Warhammer Plus a month? $7?
Yeah. No, I think it's $6.
$6. So about 6 to 7 months you would break even if you just use the...
If you only needed to buy one of these.
Yeah.
If you needed 2...
And the ones on the app You actually don't know. You don't have to pay for the app to get the data.
You do. You need to pay. You need to get the book.
You need the book, which you're gonna buy anyway.
Yeah. You're not just gonna buy this. Yeah, they're fine. If you like them, get them. If not,
I get why some people like having physical ones. I just don't.
Yeah.
For the price, not for me.
I agree. Look upon my riches and weep.
How come you get 3 and I get 1? And mine's the worst one.
Yours is the worst one. Now, to be fair, 2 of these are resculpts.
Yes, resculpts of good models and good resculpts.
Yeah.
These are all the new stuff. The actual new models. We'll show you sprue shots as we talk. Let's start with, I was going to go back and forth, but no, let's just do all the Necron ones first.
We literally can't go back and forth.
No, we can't.
So we have 2 resculpts. One for Imotekh the Stormlord, the leader of the faction before the, Silent King came back, who got an amazing facelift. Used to be Finecast, which is enough we got to say about that. He looks great. I love him. He's on a bigger base, and I love his little cloak.
Have you seen his in-game rules?
No, not his new ones.
Okay.
I've not seen his new ones. And then we have Orikan the Diviner, who is the not the main named Cryptek, because that's Monsieur Spider Legs.
Oh, Illuminator Scissors?
Yeah,
Scissors. Yeah.
But the next best one, he does still give a 4-up invuln to the detachment unit he's in.
And he ponders the orb.
And that's the best part. Again, was Finecast, not Finecast anymore, much better. And then I was going to say the classic Overlord, but it's not the classic Overlord. It's a new Overlord with the Translocation Shroud. Basically, all that means is when he advances, instead of rolling, you advance 6.
You just teleport.
I
do like that his model is mid-teleport.
That is cool.
Sub-assemblies ahoy for painting, I guess, because I don't want to ever paint it.
Yeah, but with the data going around him.
They did a good job of making 3 metal skeleton dudes look distinct and interesting from each other.
That's true.
Because
also, it was brought to my attention that this guy was on a, what are they called, the rumor engine, 2.5 years ago.
Oh, yeah. if you need any more, reminder that this stuff is sculpted, done, and painted, because you can see in the rumor engines that things are painted.
Yeah, occasionally, not all the time.
Things are done years ahead of time. GW knew this was coming for years, so.
Yeah. Anyway. On to yours, Josh. What do you think about yours?
Nice legs! Yeah. My gosh, we've hammered on this model so much.
So many people have.
It's the Sydonian Skratos. I'm the Scat Man. Beep, boop, 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 boop.
Yeah, beep, boop, boop, boop. I have seen his points. He's 65 points, which is a mere 15 points less than a what's the Vindicare Assassin?
Yeah.
Who I think is just better.
Now, I don't think you can take 3 Vindicare Assassins.
No. You're probably right. I don't know that that's true. I'm just trusting you. But
I'm not sure you can.
So basically, when the thing came out, when the article came out, we were like, oh well, I mean, he looks stupid, but he's gonna see play because he's an admech sniper that has not stealth,
lone operative,
op.
and stealth. He does have stealth too.
And we're like, oh, he's gonna see play because he has lone op, and that's all that matters. He's still too expensive for it.
15 points is 15 points.
15 points is 15.
There is still gas in bringing 3 of this guy, because that saves you 45 points over bringing 3 Vindicare Assassins.
If you can, yeah.
Vindicare Assassins also don't benefit from any of your detachment stuff, and he does.
True.
If you give him the anti-infantry rifle, and you have 3 of them, then you could pretty reliably kill even a Space Marine character with a volley. And that's not nothing.
True.
It's probably the best thing the admech has for that purpose.
Sure, that's true.
The Vindicare Assassin really relies on rolling a 6 to make that happen, because that's what gives him the +3 damage.
Right.
That's the only time the Vindicare can ever really do that. I would also expect the Vindicare to go up in points probably soon, because it's still seeing play for what it is, and and GW does not like it when a cross-faction model gets used too much.
That's fair.
They tend to nerf it.
They already nerfed the exaction squads.
Yeah. So I think he will still see play, but it's not going to be this super spammable, abusable thing. But none of that matters, because if I have any dignity, I'm not putting this guy on the board. He just looks so bad.
He does.
Stilts McGee over here. Maybe if you like, that's the thing though, is you also can't shorten his legs without modeling for advantage.
That's true.
I want to just take a normal Skitarii like ranger and just put him on a pillar.
I mean,
to make sure he's the same height.
Right.
So I'm not modeling for advantage or anything like that.
But also not going to like snap his ankles.
That's the other thing, like transporting this, especially in the new skirmish case. I realize he's not in any skirmish games because he's not in kill teams.
True.
But or even the hex foam the channel foam that GW loves to put out. Transporting this guy in any kind of form of foam is the worst idea imaginable.
Impossible.
It's a bad idea for admech in general. It's especially bad for this guy. He's gonna snap in multiple places. We've hammered on this model so much, and now that we know for sure what the rules and points are.
See, I want to go the other direction. I want to cut his little legs and then make them longer.
You want to model for disadvantage?
I want to model for. I want him this tall.
Well, but if he can see over all the buildings, it is technically advantage.
That's true. And he has actually then making him smaller would be disadvantage because he has lone op.
Maybe. I mean, reality is it depends on who you play against and how much they're going to complain.
I'm gonna have one of each. I'm gonna have one with no legs and one with all the legs.
They balance out.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
In reality, I will have none of these.
I was about to say, in reality, oh no, you're gonna start playing the faction just for these guys.
Just for that guy, yeah. He's my favorite.
Yeah, man. Again, point Necrons.
Yep.
So I think it's 3-0 right now.
It is currently 3-0. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess which dice were better?
Their dice. Everyone loses.
That's fair.
No one won that game. That's
0-0.
Yeah, 0-0. Love. Yeah. Moment of silence.
Yeah. R.I.P. All right, we got one more thing.
We do have one more thing. And last, and I'm still gonna say least.
Yeah.
It's more monetization for Kill Team.
Yeah, I don't get this.
I mean, I do get it. It's like, okay, how do we keep selling rules updates for Kill Team? Another TAC Ops and Mission Card pack.
Yeah, sure.
We should have ended on this one. This one's the most depressing one.
Yeah, you're right.
Even as people who like Kill Team, this is annoying, and it doesn't. I mean,
yeah, I really like Kill Team. I bought the other TAC Ops stuff.
Yeah, knowing that this is now going to be a continual release thing.
Yeah,
I'm not pleased about that. You'll need it for competitive play, otherwise, ignore it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's it from us this week. And exciting release if you play these factions, obviously. Probably, I was going to say more exciting for Necrons than for admech, but admech were so bad, and the book, while not being a major improvement, is still an improvement.
So it is a increase percentage-wise better than Necrons.
It's like being a dying person in the desert and finding a bottle of flat crystal Pepsi.
Whereas Necrons was drinking regular Pepsi, and then they got Coke. Not sponsored.
Not sponsored. Hashtag not sponsored. Hashtag don't sue us, Mountain Dew bot on Twitch. Yeah, so like Necrons were like, oh, we were doing pretty well. Oh, the thing that, our Oath of Moment got nerfed.
Yeah.
Because the thing that was not fun to fight against got nerfed, which is good. I'm glad they've been doing that. Because, for Marines, they were like, okay, it's not fun to fight someone who has just, every single turn, die.
Yep.
Now it's still kind of die, but less die. And Necrons, it's not fun to fight against an immortal blob. Not a blob of immortals, a literal immortal blob. And despite what Necron players might say, it's not fun to fight against that, sorry.
Yeah, no. I am a Necron player, and I agree.
But they changed that while giving them more variety.
Yeah.
Admech, it's very fun to fight against them because they suck, and very not fun to fight with them, and they kind of improved that.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
They have more variety, and the Castellan robot build is going to carry you a lot farther than the old one did. They're just still not quite there, and it's such a bummer. Yeah. Why does Games Workshop hate AdMech so much?
I really don't know.
I don't even play AdMech.
Yeah, they're just... It's a sympathy. It's a sympathetic feeling. Like, poor guys.
Don't they understand that the robot revolution is coming and they need to make these guys look good?
That's why they're doing Necrons so well.
Hedging their bets?
Yeah, hedging their bets. They're not full They're not full robots.
Oh, that's what they're saying. Is like, you see future robot overlords. Our Necrons are great because we believe in you.
Yeah.
Pitiful cyborgs? No.
Out of here.
Well, speaking of robot overlords and the AI revolution, appease our robot overlords, the algorithms, by leaving us a like and a comment below. If if you liked anything we talked about today, let us know. If you're excited about this, if I'm just wrong about AdMech, and this is in fact the new banger faction that is going to drive all the tournaments weeping before them, see your local psychiatrist and let me know about how I'm wrong. Because maybe I missed something. I don't play this faction. I just think they look cool from a distance on stilts.